When a Taurus person falls in love with you, beware. It's not going to work. And I'll tell you why. The truth is they actually want to be the one staying at home. This is the karmic piece of the story, okay? Yeah, they don't like your method. Let's talk about it. Don't hate me. Don't hate me. I'm continuing my series about the zodiac signs that lie. So how each zodiac sign kind of fibs to themselves and maybe even fibs to you inside a romantic relationship, how they actually want to be seen, and then what the real truth is. So there's a complex contradiction in all of us, okay? So today we are going to explore Taurus. Now, what Taurus says they want versus what they really need is a little bit different, and we are going to get into it in this video today. You can listen to this video if you're involved with a Taurus, if your soulmate is a Taurus, if you're married to a Taurus, or if you want to understand just Taurus energy at a little bit more of a psychological, truthful level. And also, you can look in your own gorgeous natal chart. Hopefully you got one from me. Thank you so much for your support. Just go to shopsoulnavigation.com and you can purchase yours. They're so gorgeous. But look and see where you have Taurus energy in your own chart. And it is in that particular house, which is that place in your life where you might have some of these same issues, characteristics, hangups, and this might be where you sort of fib to yourself. So I bet you'll be able to relate to this video regarding that part of your Taurus life. So where do you have Taurus in your own chart? And who is your Taurus partner? Let's dive in deep. So we all kind of have a fantasy idea of who we are and who we think we are and kind of who we want to be, right? And we all kind of have a tendency to lie to ourselves a little bit. And some of us just do this to survive our difficult and challenging lives or parts of our lives. But I'm going to show you how Tauruses kind of fib to themselves, the top 5 fibs. Now, believe me, there are way more than this, but I'm just talking about the most important ones because I want you to understand your Taurus better. And I want you to be able to help your Taurus get out of their fib and live more authentically. That's the purpose and the point of this video. And then I'm going to show you what Taurus thinks they want in life or how they see themselves and what they actually truly at the soul's level need. The first lie about Tauruses will tell you that they're very hard workers and that they're super self-disciplined. And while they have this ability, they have this capacity, and they even have the stamina to be a hard worker. And believe me, I know very hardworking Tauruses, and but it's probably because they have to be. They have to work hard. I'm going to tell you, though, it is not their bottom line nature. It's not the dream of their life to be a hard worker. That's not their dream. That is not really how they're motivated. So if you know a hardworking Taurus in your life, they probably have Scorpio, Virgo, or Capricorn in their charts pretty loudly, or they have a big 6th house or a 10th house emphasis in their natal chart. I'm going to tell you the truth about Taurus. Taurus would really rather make money in their sleep than have to go out and work hard for it. Like, who wouldn't, right? But it's really the bottom line truth of them. And I'm not blaming and I'm not shaming. And I know some of you guys are going to get mad at me in this series, but just listen, stick with me and listen to it because I'm going to get you into the deeper spiritual karmic truths. Okay. I do want you to know and understand your Taurus energy in your own chart and in your romantic life, your romantic partner. I want you to know their subconscious fibs and lies, and every sign has their own version of fibbing. You realize that if you've been studying with me for a while, that we don't do sun sign astrology, right? So don't get too mad at me when you're like, my Taurus is a really hard worker. I'm the hardest worker I know, and I'm a Taurus. Well, go look at your natal chart and see where that's coming from. And it's probably not the Taurus part. So along the lines of this fib, they sort of lie to themselves, thinking that they would really love a partner, a romantic partner that just enjoys the simple life, that is sort of set up in a way to bring them all the feel goods, all the comforts. And, the partner that draws the hot bath or makes them the coffee in the morning or has time for a lot of romance and sexuality and to sit around and do the do nothings, the do nothing feel goods, and a partner that pampers them and dotes on them and makes life easier and more simple and less chaotic. And yes, I totally understand. That is true to a point. This is a part of what they desire, but I'm going to flip this for you. It has to be in moderation. And if that's all the person has to offer, it's not going to work. And I'll tell you why. And it's because they would rather have the hardworking partner so they can be the one that doesn't have to work quite as hard. Yes, they want to be the one that does the spoiling and the gluttony, if you will. In truth, they don't really want the stay-at-home partner that's just going to dote or dawdle or dream away their days. And the reason why is because it puts more pressure on them. That puts a lot of pressure on them. And unless you both have the means to just not work and live a lazy life, a lazy, creative, fun, feel-good life, they really don't like that. I'll explain in more detail before you all get mad at me. So Taurus doesn't really want to do any of the heavy lifting alone. Taurus is not Capricorn. Taurus is not Virgo. Taurus is the bull, and they get resentful over time if they're the only ones working super hard and paying the bills and having to keep organized and having to do the discipline. So if you are with a person with a ton of Taurus energy or just a lot of Taurus energy in their chart, and that includes Taurus rising, Taurus south node, Taurus sun sign, Taurus Venus, Taurus Mars, Taurus Mercury, or any sign in the second house, that second house operates like Taurus energy. So if they have 3 planets in Scorpio in the second house, that's a lot of Taurus energy because the second house is Taurus's house. So if you are a person who has Taurus in their chart, like anything I just mentioned, and if you are the stay-at-home mommy or daddy, you're probably on limited time. If you're on disability, watching television all day, doing nothing, you're probably on literally limited time with them. It might even be like after your kids are raised, then it's your turn to go back to work while they now get to stay at home in retirement. And by the way, if you are staying at home, then they want you to be staying at home to make their life better. They want you to be having top priority at making Meredith's life so much better, right? Whoever your Taurus is. I'm not a Taurus, but they want your priority to be to, I don't know, have the gin martinis ready at 5 o'clock when I walk in the door and have the rose petals in the bath, right? And I really want a great meal, something fabulous that you learned how to cook. Yeah, if you could speak to me in Italian. But you need to be working very hard at making their life better. You cannot just be gluttonous all alone by yourself while I'm out working my butt off and I'm the Taurus. No, this is not working well. The truth is they actually want to be the one staying at home. They don't really want you to be the beneficiary of that, of their hard work. And in truth, they might not even admit this to you, but they want a comfortable life. And they want to do the breezy life, the get up, the drink coffee slowly, have enough money in the bank account where I don't have to think about what I'm spending. I just get to spend, and I get to buy new furniture if I want to, or a new car, pick out a new car with the nice interior leather, right? And I can call a friend, or I don't know, sip my lemonade in the gorgeous garden, or eat cheesy pizza and watch reality TV all day and play video games at night, or take a drive, or go to a girlfriend's house, or have a nice lazy walk on the beach. Are you a Taurus? Can you relate? They really would like for somebody else to pay those bills while I do all that. I know, what sign doesn't want this, right? Like, that's why Taurus is so fabulous. Like, we all want that. We can relate. They would actually really appreciate dating somebody, marrying somebody who would make life easier for them. Really, truly, what they deeply need This is the karmic piece of the story, okay? Is they need to find their spiritual gifts, their calling, and they need to stand in alignment with their values because it's that which creates self-worth. And they actually are on a karmic spiritual path in this lifetime to figure out what their worth is. And they oftentimes, I'm going to talk about this in a minute because I'm going to give you 5 of these little fibs. They oftentimes equate it to money. And it's not going to be found there. Anyways, they need to figure out what they value. What do they feel loyal to? And how can they make that? How can they turn that value, that thing that they feel loyal to, into a job? How can they practice their spiritual gifts in the form of a job that fulfills them and taps into their life force energy? These people come in with massive life force energy. And this energy allows them to be in the deepest, most fulfilling part of themselves. And this is actually where that calm and that serenity and that feel good originates from. It's not really in the hammock outside with the cheesy pizza. It really isn't. They might think it is, but it comes from standing in their spiritual gifts. It is in defining their goals and approaching their work with deep appreciation for what they can give. It's by being in true, deep alignment with their calling. Their work can become enriching, fascinating, and it can actually fulfill them in a way that is not stressful at all. It's not filled with rage or anger or hatred for having to do this work that they don't like. They cannot do. Taurus, more than most signs, need to do work that they are in love with. Why? They're Venus ruled. What is Venus? Desire, love. They need to do work that actually expands their hearts, that makes them feel valuable and valued and important. Work that will allow them to take a deep breath or a time out, or also, I should say, have big, giant, juicy perks. Oh my gosh, Taurus loves perks. What are the perks? What are the perks? I want perks. I want perks. Give me the perks. That's a Taurus. And they do not do well with work that has them stressed out, feeling chaotic energy, and off balance. This is not Aries. Did you watch my Aries video? I'm going to do all 12 signs. So you guys are going to get a big, big dose of how each sign fibs to themselves, lies to themselves. When Taurus is in their spiritual calling, it doesn't feel like work. And that's what they need. They need a job that doesn't feel like a job. They need a job that doesn't feel like hard work. These are not really the hard workers of the zodiac, although they can be. They absolutely can be. But they want a job that feels like genuine joy. They make the absolute best partners, bringing serenity and calmness and value to every single day to their partnerships. And that is the absolute truth of Taurus when they do joyful work. If they are in a job that makes them feel so stressed out or undervalued, they will bring that work stress into their romantic partners. Has anybody here dated an unhappy bull? I never have. I don't think I will. Unhappy bulls are really a big energy to contend with, and it can be unbearable. Have you ever lived with an unhappy bull? It's painful, right? Tell your stories, share your stories with the community. By the way, my community is so beautiful, and I love you guys so much. Please share your stories in the comments because everybody learns from your contribution, and we're in this together. So when Taurus has this joy in their own work, they don't care actually then they don't care if you're the stay-at-home mommy or daddy, or if you're working or not working. They don't care. As long as you're pulling your own weight, as long as you're not a financial, liability to their lives, as long as you can pay your own bills, they don't want your comfort to become their liability. And that's the truth. So, Taurus, my question for you is, what do you love? And go look at the house in which your Taurus energy sits in your chart. You know you have all 12 signs in your chart, right? And so wherever Taurus is in your chart, you don't want that part of your life to feel like a horrible, hard-working job. You want to find your spiritual gifts inside that house in your natal chart. So you guys come learn with me in person. I have 5 tickets left. I am so excited. On May 15th, through the 18th, 2025, so just right around the corner, I am teaching a 3-day workshop in Seattle. And we're going to meet for happy hour. We're going to go to dinner. We are going to party at night, and we are going to study the deepest astrology during the day. I'm teaching soulmate golden linkages through Magi astrology. It's going to absolutely blow off your crown chakra. I am also teaching your family DNA, right? Actually, like your family tree DNA. It's going to be so powerful. And then the ecstasy and the agony of your personal chart, how to find it. It's going to be so exciting. If you need a roommate, you can write to us at teamsoulnavigation@gmail.com, and we will partner you up with a roommate. And just go to Soul Navigation and check out all the details under workshops and retreats. I hope you will come. It's going to be amazing. And I have 5 more spaces available. So fib number 2, how does Taurus kind of lie to themselves and to you? Let's talk about it. Don't hate me. Don't hate me. This isn't to shame anybody. This is just to get each sign to understand their shadow side. And the healthier you are, the less of the fib you'll do. So if you know a Taurus that doesn't do any of these fibs, you probably have a really healthy Taurus on your hands. I hope so. I'm praying. That's why we're doing this work, right? That's why we're doing astrology. So they kind of lie, like especially on a first date or something, or when you first meet them, that they're really big risk takers, and they're maybe trying to just get your approval or get you to like them, or, they are Venus ruled. And so they're very seductive. And maybe this is how they think that you will like them more, that they're not boring. They're risk takers. Oh, they've lived such an adventurous life. Oh my God. They're so fascinating. They take so many big risks. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Maybe if they have a lot of Aries or Gemini in their chart. And so if you have a big risk-taking Taurus, go check out, see if they've got their Mercury or Venus in Gemini or Aries. They probably do. And the Aries and the Gemini are big risk takers. And so let's say thank God to that part of their chart if they've got that. But in truth, Taurus people oftentimes get stuck very badly, like crystallized into deep ruts, and their life gets set up into a theme of drudgery in a way. That's as low as it goes. I mean, it is like, yeah, they cannot leave their routines. If they are so deeply in their routine, they start to lose their own vitality. Do you know any Tauruses that have lost their vitality? I do. It is sad. It is very, very sad. It's like they're sitting in their own rut and they can't jolt themselves out. It is actually exhausting for the unhealthy Taurus to pursue new opportunities. It's exhausting. Like it's invigorating for Gemini or Sagittarius, like something new, woo, wee. No, that's exhausting. New, ew, I don't want to do that. New adventures, new directions. While it may seem exciting, a lot of Tauruses just absolutely cannot drive a new way to work or walk along a new path. And this leads them to be super steady, super reliable. But is it at the expense of their life force energy? Is it at the expense where now they become the oppressive self to themselves? That's my question. So if you're involved with a Taurus and they're talking about all these great adventures that they think they're going to take with you, like, oh yeah, I want to go to the Maldive Islands, and oh yeah, I want to go glamping, and oh yeah, I want to do all that. And then you move in with them or you start dating them and you realize that they never plan these things. They never do these things. They don't even want to go walk to the mailbox or take out the trash. That's the adventure of the lifetime. Woo, because they're too exhausted. They're too tired. The truth is the reason why they don't take risks or go on adventures to the degree that they say they do or want to is because they're a little bit afraid. They have this fear of letting go of the past and letting go of their routines because their routines have become nostalgic to them and they can control their routines. And this is how they're kind of similar to that Cancer energy as well. But what they truly need is the romantic partner that will help them get out of the lie that they're a big risk taker and stand in the creative. To create is to make something new. The creative and transformational energy of life. Yeah, preach it. And bringing them, they need a partner that will bring them new activities, even new ideas, new perceptions, new concepts, new paradigm shifts. and help them take risks that are good risks, not bad risks, not careless risks, but based on whatever situation they're in, helpful risks to help them keep their life force energy alive and excited. When they can be in love with a person who they feel safe enough with, that they can try on that person's more risk-taking energy, right? Like stand in it, lean into this excitement. The creativity that is new to them, doing something new and creative, which is kind of rare. Like they usually master a talent and then they stick with that talent. They don't usually like try their hand at a brand new talent where they might fail, right? When they trust somebody to stand in that new creative energy, their entire lives transform. Their entire lives transform. Now, Tauruses are usually creative people because they're Venus ruled, but they, like I said, they usually master a craft or a technique, and then they do that one technique. So do not think they are the big risk takers unless you go and check their natal chart, which I hope you guys are doing that. And I hope you guys have watched the first meeting chart, because you're going to want to know the first meeting chart. Is it a lot of Taurus energy? Well, there's probably not going to be a lot of risks in your relationship. And if you're a Sagittarius, Aries, or Leo, or Gemini, and you want a lot of risks, you want to make sure that your first meeting date doesn't happen when there's a ton of Taurus energy. A little Taurus energy to create steadiness, to create, a second date is good, but you don't want 6 planets in Taurus. No, not if you want a lot of adventure. So you can do this in a first meeting chart too. I hope you guys are learning. I hope you guys are learning all this with me. So oftentimes they are the armchair risk takers, and they really, really need a partner who has a bigger desire to change things up, to be creative, to try new things, and to go on adventure than they have. Because if it's left up to them, they're just going to end up doing it the way they've always done it. They're going to go to their same place. They're going to go to, hey, we love that restaurant in Scottsdale. Let's go do that. Or, hey, let's go get that timeshare place that we go to in Mexico. Do you know what I mean? So they really need a partner that can bring a little bit of the risk-taking spice of life to the party. You guys, I hope that you will join the membership here. Join and become a member. Please help us keep our videos up. It only costs 10 cents a day, and it really does help us do more astrology work for you. Okay, fib number 3. They say they're not jealous. When a Taurus person falls in love with you, beware. The bond with you is so deep that it becomes all-consuming. And this kind of bond, while they crave it, they are really, really, really afraid to humble themselves enough to open up their hearts to the vulnerability that true love requires. This is so hard for them. So when they find their person, and if you are their person, and trust me, they're looking for the soulmate. Yeah. They want the soulmate. Give me the soulmate or no mate. They are not frivolous. These are not the loose, the loose lips, the loose lovers of the zodiac. No, they want a soulmate or no mate. That's their thing. That's their bumper sticker. Yeah. They don't need a lot of lovers. They don't need a lot of people. They just need one that they can give all of themselves to. And they start to include you into their nostalgic routine, their traditions, their family traditions, their friend traditions, their way of life. And it should be an honor and a privilege of you to be included into their routine, like if they change up their routine, I don't know, let's say you want to commute to work together. So they leave their house at 8:00. If they're going to stop and pick you up, and then you want to go get a coffee, and then they're going to take you to work, and then they go to work, that's huge because they're used to doing their routine, eating their Egg McMuffin on the way to work, not stopping for nobody, anybody. When they start including you in their routine and their pattern, this is the way they say, I love you. Like, I'm making sacrifices for you by putting you into the concept of my life before there was any concept of you. And they do want to make life easier for you and more comfortable for you. And they do find great strength inside partnership. They fall in love with the eternal bond and the concept of the eternal bond. The stakes are high. So the idea of being possibly with a partner, a soulmate, a lifelong marriage partner, a lifelong partner can be really frightening, because now if you're part of their routine, their pattern in life, their nostalgia, and now you're becoming nostalgic. Oh my God, now you've become their security. The life or the days that you have built together, even if you've only been together for 3 months, you've become a commodity in a sort of way. You've become a thing in their life that they are now pledging loyalty to, and they want that in return. And don't you dare think that they will share this commodity with anybody, you, or that they will be shared. They don't want to share, basically. Their self-worth is now with their romantic partner. And their self-worth also comes partially from what you think of them. And if you leave them when their identity is now enmeshed with you, that will wreck their entire concept of the world, their world. They can leave you, let me be clear, but you cannot leave them. It's one way. Is that Hotel California? You can stay but never leave. Yeah, they can leave you. You cannot leave them. They now have their identity and their self-worth and their patterns and their regulation and the way they do life attached into you. And so this is why they become very, very possessive and even jealous. If you turn that attention onto someone else, they don't like changes. And so don't go changing your mind about them. Don't go changing. Nope. Do not go changing. They also like you being, yes, more risk adventurous than them, but also predictable. They are very possessive about their possessions. They don't even like to loan out their jacket. No, they're possessive about the clothes they wear, the shoes they bought, the pillow they sleep on. They're possessive about their house, their children, their partners, you. So wherever you have Taurus energy in your chart, you are extremely loyal to that piece of your life. So where do you have Taurus in your chart? This is one of the most jealous signs. I think this could be the most jealous sign, even more so than Scorpio. Honestly, I do. And I talk a lot about that in my Taurus rising video. If you guys want more truthful Taurus tidbits, I go pretty deep into that video. And so if they tell you that they are not jealous, they are lying. Even healthy Tauruses are jealous. Unless they've got like 3 or 4 planets in Gemini and their Aquarius moon or Aquarius rising. You tell me if you know a Taurus that's not jealous. And it's not just jealous of their partners. They feel, I want to tell you another thing. This is a secret. They want you to be jealous too. Because if you're not jealous of them possibly leaving, then they feel, what the hell? I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough for you to be jealous over. So jealousy is a little bit of a currency that they play with. Like, you should be jealous. I'm all this in a bag of chips. I'm all this. I'm so hot and you're not jealous over my hotness. I'm kind of being funny, but they want to be entitled to your jealousy. But let me go deeper and let me be serious for a minute. What they really need is they need a partner that brings them enough security. And they also need to develop their own internal unique gifts by being in alignment with what they truly value and desire. They need to develop self-worth in this lifetime. If you are a Taurus, you are working on the worth and the value of your soul. That's actually what's happening. And they get jealous when they see other people doing that better. Like, why do they have all that? And why do they have all that? And why do they get an easy life? And why don't they have to work, right? Because they want that too. When they have found their spiritual gifts and their deep self-worth, jealousy is not operating at the forefront of their life. And these people can be when they're underdeveloped or when they have not found their true value and worth. Tell me if you guys can relate to this. Again, the comments really help. They can be jealous of their family members that have it easier. A favorite child. I wasn't the favorite child. They can be jealous of girlfriends or guy friends, and they can be jealous of their neighbors. They can be jealous of, the kid in the classroom. And that's because they're always measuring themselves against others. And they're here to find their self-worth. So when you're here to find your self-worth, you are going to experience what not having it feels like, right? So if you're here to understand what sobriety is, you're going to know what being drunk is or high. it's through the contrast that they are learning. But when they are truly fulfilled in their own lives, in their own unique skills, in their own creativity, so they're able to stop comparing themselves to others because they feel a sense of pride in who they are, and they feel a value to this world or their partners or their family or their friends. When they feel valued, that is when they come into, truthfully, their wholeness of life. And jealousy is no longer a driver. So where do you have Taurus in your chart? Who is a Taurus in your life? I have healthy Tauruses in my life, thank God. And I can't do my life without good Taurus people in my life. They bring me the stability that I need. Okay, lie number 4. They lie about not having money issues. So if you meet a Taurus and they're like, oh God, I have no money issues. That's not true. Taurus has the biggest relationship to money more than any other sign, even more than Scorpio and more than Cancer. I'm not joking. Now, I hope, again, that they are the healthy version of Taurus and that they have all their money issues worked out by the time they meet you, and that they have a nice savings account and that they're very secure around their money story. I really hope that's true. I'm going to tell you this is very, very rare. And I told you guys in one of my other Taurus videos about my neighbor who we ran our houses together like a compound. So I watched his dog. He watched my dog. He doesn't watch these videos, so I'm safe to tell his story. And he is always crying poor to me. And I was actually the one, like, in truth, if anybody was poor, it was me. Like, I was like trying to scrap around, for to like, what are we going to eat tonight? I mean, it wasn't that horrible at this time in my life, but I have been very, very poor in my life. But anyways, I'm just telling you, I made 1/10 of what he earned in his income. And he was my neighbor. Anyways, he asked me to go open up his mail, and he asked me to open up a bank statement to see if a bill had been paid. So I wasn't really snooping. And I told this video before, if you guys remember it, and I saw his savings account. I was like, what the hell? What the hell? By the way, he is buying like the most beautiful art, and it's everywhere in his house. And this art is original. And I know this art is like worth so much money. And he just goes out and buys it. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not even buying art. I'm asking my 5-year-old daughter to paint me something, right, to hang up. Yeah. His bank account was like, he never even needed to work another day in his life. And all he did was talk about how much money he did not have. What the hell? I don't know what world he's living in. Yeah, my math surely was not adding up. I never even told him I saw that. He'll never find out. But anyways, Tauruses have money issues. So they have money issues in many different ways. They can be really tight with their money, or they can be gluttonous, like always thinking that the next thing they buy will fill them up. They're very, very attached to their purchases. They usually like to make big, good quality purchases. And they usually have their self-worth attached to the things they buy, but they have money issues. And I could do an entire video on the money issues Taurus has, but if they might lie and say, oh no, I don't have any money issues. No, I'm fine. I'm solid. I'm good. You need to go check their chart. They usually have, this is not always, but this is usually, especially if they're still developing, they usually have a deep feeling of financial crisis inside of them, like around the corner, or I don't have enough in my savings, or I'm going to have to work my butt off my whole life in a job that I don't like in order to just feed myself. And the topic of money needs to come up pretty quickly if you're dating a Taurus. And I'll say this because you guys got to get on the same page. They will usually bring up money pretty fast. They will talk about money because they're going to want to know how much money you have. And they are lying. If they say they don't need a partner that makes as much as them, or even have a job, like they love you for you. That's a lie. So even if they're like my $1 million neighbor who has, $1 million in savings, there's usually a deep feeling that they don't have enough. Like they literally have dysmorphia, money dysmorphia. And they can feel like they're just constantly struggling to get by, because even if they have a mansion, they want something else, or they have another need. And so if you're going to partner with a Taurus, you absolutely have got to figure out what their relationship to money is and see if you are in alignment with their perspective. See if their perspective is even the truth, because money is like a mirage with them. It's just A mirage is never really accurate. I want to also tell you, warning, especially if you're a Sagittarius or a Gemini or a Pisces that likes to spend their money more freely than a Taurus, you really need to know what your Taurus's perspective on money is, because you could find yourself in a lot of money fights if you're not on the same page and you don't know what your Taurus feels about the concept of wealth. Like, with my neighbor, what is the concept of wealth? Oh my God. Had I had, $1,000 extra dollars, I would have felt rich. He would have felt really poor and scared. So oftentimes Tauruses are money hoarders. They're oftentimes very good savers. They're usually very tight with their money. They like to spend things on quality things. And they're usually not as attracted to people who they deem as wasteful with money, because that's not safe. That's not secure. That's not secure to hook up with you if you're going to go blow all the cash at the casino. Yeah, no, I'm not dating you. So be honest with them. Like, hey, I got no cash. Are you okay with that? No, I'm actually not. So what's your plan around that? Well, I don't have a plan. Okay, yeah, it was nice meeting you. Saving money equals security for them. If they tell you that they don't have money issues, they are lying. And you just need to know, what are your fears around money? That's the real question to ask. And if they can be honest with you about it, it will make your relationship a lot smoother. Like, you've got to get into the truth of what they feel about their money. Let me give you the karmic piece of this, okay? Especially if you are a Taurus. The thing Taurus most needs to know is how to gain prosperity, is to ease up their feelings around money and develop a belief system that money can flow through them. Like, I have this one girlfriend, she's one of my very best friends in my whole entire life. And she lives in the Hamptons. And she just lives with a concept of, I always find a way. There will always be enough. She's never been without. And she's been close. She lives on the edge, but she always believes it will work out. She has the best. She doesn't have any Taurus in her chart, by the way. She's all Aquarius and Pisces. And so she's just in the belief that she can accumulate wealth and enough money, and it circulates with ease. And if she gives money, she'll get money. And this is actually how you manifest more money, by living in the belief that you have enough. You're not coming from a place of starvation, right? Metaphoric financial starvation. And the truth is Taurus needs to learn how to give with love, give with generosity, give with the razzle dazzle sparkleness of, no, you take it. I have some Taurus risings in my life that are so generous, and she always has more than she needs. Always. I think because, well, she is a Virgo, but she has Taurus rising, and she can really attract money to herself. When Tauruses spend their money gleefully, they actually will come to acquire more wealth. If you're a Taurus, you should do visualizations and try to remove the fears that you have around not having enough. And just do meditations that say, I have enough money to pay my bills with love, and start building good, solid financial karma for yourself by bringing it in, by calling it in, by living in the faith of it. I know you can manifest more by deliberately linking to the universe's gift to providing for you. I love the question asked. I forget where I saw it, on TikTok, or I saw it through an inspirational speaker, and he asked, does money grow on trees? Okay, so just answer that question for me. Does money grow on trees? Hopefully I've never asked this question before, so you guys don't know the answer. And the people said, no, money does not grow on trees. And the inspirational speaker said, you're wrong. Money does grow on trees. Have you ever been to a vineyard? Have you ever seen an olive tree ranch? Have you ever seen a lemon tree or an orange grove? Money does grow on trees. How about the mango trees? Yeah, I have a client that has mango trees. Money grows on trees. So what Taurus really needs is a partner, is a romantic partner that can help them change their relationship to money, not living in the fear of it. And they need a partner that can really help, not be all financial security. If you are with a partner and you're a Taurus and they bring all the financial security to the table, the relationship isn't going to be great. And the reason why is it will stunt the Taurus's growth in finding their own spiritual gifts. Because Taurus has such a strong relationship to money, Tauruses really do need to work. They need to work in their spiritual gift and earn their own money more than any other sign, even though they don't want to, even though it's a lie to themselves, to their karmic calling, and to their contract that they could sit happily at home and live that easy, comfortable life, making money in their sleep, doing nothing. And they do kind of want that. That's the lie. They don't want you to have that, and they don't get that. But if they get that, ironically, then they have a tendency to sabotage, never finding their spiritual gifts. And they can't then develop their self-worth, which is what their life is really about. Do you see how it's all tied together? Oh my God. And it's inside of that work that they do that is joyful and creative, that they can earn money from, that they build value in. And even if you do pay more of the bills, at least it's not at the cost of them finding their own gifts and therefore squashing their self-worth. So money is a huge component to their security. So if they say they can be with somebody who doesn't have money and they just love you for you and you don't need to earn it, it's not true. No, unless they have $1 million, billion-dollar bank account and neither one of you needs to work. Okay. Lie number 5, fib number 5. By the way, will you please like this video and also become a subscriber? Help me push my video out. I don't know why, but the algorithm is working against me. I don't know why. I think YouTube changed it, but my videos are not reaching people. So if you would like and watch my video all the way through, it will boost this channel and I will be so grateful. Okay, lie number 5. They say they want your help. They say they're a good team player. They do not want your help. They do not want your advice. Nope. It's their way or the highway. If you do offer to help them, and if they do accept your help because they don't want to tell you no, although they really don't want your help, you need to help them in the exact way in which they would do it. Like, don't offer to help them and then do it differently because that was not helpful. And in truth, they kind of feel like your help makes things more difficult for them in the end. And this creates stress in their life. And this becomes exhausting. And now you're just pure exhaustion. And you're adding to the chaos in my head now. Now I have more work to do because I got to undo your helpfulness because your helpfulness was no help at all because you didn't do it right. Yeah, they don't like your method. No, they like their method. And if you want to do their method, then you're allowed to help. And they're not good at delegating. No. So if they delegate something to you, give them a lot of praise. Like, oh, that's so nice of you. Do I get to be as creative as I want? No, you don't. I told you explicitly how I wanted you to feed my cats. And now you need to feed them that way. So if you're baking sugar cookies together, let's say, and they want to teach you how to bake these fabulous sugar cookies, right? And how to decorate and how to do the piping and all that. They're going to silently judge you if you don't do it the way they told you to do it. Yeah. They're wanting things to be the way they have always had them, right? So they're going back into tradition. And like my grandmother's meat sauce, you need to simmer the onions for 32 seconds. I know it sounds like Virgo. It's not so much about it being exacting as it is sort of like honoring the tradition or honoring my way. They want it the way they want it. Sometimes they get so caught up in teaching the task or in doing the task with you, if you're doing it with them, that they forget to be an inspirational force inside the relationship. So if they teach you something, they might be more focused on the very thing they're teaching rather than making you feel like this is a nice, enjoyable time that we're having together, being on the same team, learning and growing and being creative together, and you doing your thing and me doing my thing. No, that's Libra. If you're wanting to have just a lovely, delightful, nice time, learning something new together in tandem where we divide and conquer together, Taurus is probably not the very best person in the zodiac to do that with. But if you can just follow their marching orders and stand in alignment with what they want you to do, then that'll probably work. And then you can offer to help them. If you think about helping as actually sharing, it's actually like dividing up, right? Dividing up the tasks and conquering. These are not the best sharers of the zodiac. If they say they're super good at sharing, Where's your Libra? Where's your Gemini, right? Where's your Pisces? Yeah, where's your Cancer? Like, where's your Virgo? Like, that's not Taurus. Taurus is not a great share. They have to learn how to share. And healthy Tauruses can share. They learn that they come to the karmic conclusion that two is better than one, and it's better to share my sandwich with you and enjoy our relationship and be in the love of the simple pleasures in life. And they can do that. But that's where they're headed. That's where they're growing. That's where they're going. And it takes, think about it. It takes an open heart to let other people in to allow them to assist you or help you or ask you for help. Because then guess what? They have to share in the outcome. And they have a very difficult time not having sole ownership of their projects. They don't want to share. They really don't want to share the outcome or the award or the result. What, are we going to get a trophy and we're going to cut it in half? No, it's going to be in my house. I'm the Taurus. I want it in my house. You go get a replica. They have a difficult time releasing sole ownership. So it's not as sinister as I'm making it seem, and I am being kind of funny, but I do want you to kind of understand the psychological aspect, and it's about soul ownership. It's about getting soul credit. It's about being of worth, right? And if I share it with you, then everybody's not going to know that I am really what my worth is. They also don't like it. Like if we're on a debate team or something and I'm the Taurus and I do most of the work and then you get the credit, hell to the no, hell to the no, hell to the no, hell to the no. Nope, 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 nope. I want to be sure that I get credit for doing most of the work. They also don't want to take all the credit if you did all the work either. They'd rather just go at it alone. They're very independent, to tell you the truth, and build the gosh darn thing by themselves and get all the credit and get the trophy and have the trophy in their house. Yeah, they like having the credit, period. This is what makes them comfortable. And at the end of the day, their life is about finding comfort, seeking comfort, which is financial security, right? Love security, a soulmate security, finding their self-worth, using their spiritual gifts. They don't like to lose control. And when they're in a team, too many cooks in the kitchen, I think a Taurus probably coined that phrase. So wherever you have Taurus in your chart, you probably do not want to lose control. I know I don't, where I have Taurus in my chart. I have all the control in that particular house in my chart. But the karmic truth, the karmic lesson, what they really need is the ability to learn how to delegate and how to allow other people to share in the tasks and to become nimble and flexible, right? Nimble and flexible. If you guys have been watching my Pisces and Virgo North Nodal axis backflipping, right? The nodes backflipping into Pisces and Virgo, right now, especially, we have to be willow reeds. And the bull, the cow, is not a willow reed, but they need to learn how to have this level of flexibility and to embrace and be able to embrace the creative ideas and the changes other people bring to their lives, because it is in the ability to adapt and change that the true revitalization of their life force energy can occur. And that is the most important thing you need to know about Taurus. So how you're going to get them to embrace change is probably a whole nother video, and it's going to have to entice them or seduce them or lightly convince them that it's a good idea to embrace this change so they can revitalize their energy. I hope you loved this video. I hope you will like it. Become a subscriber and please join as a member. And I also hope that you are going to come meet me in person and study deeper astrology with me right here in Seattle, Washington in May. Go check out all the details on my website. And if you want to know what's so great about being a Taurus or Taurus energy, watch my Everything Taurus video and learn tons on my entire Taurus playlist.